The bloodiest royal war in history, an epic tale of crowns, betrayal, and endless blood before the world learned the meaning of peace. It first learned the meaning of blood, long before history was written in books. It was carved into stone with swords and screams. And among all wars ever fought, none was more brutal, more tragic, or more devastating than the royal war that destroyed the mighty Kingdom of Aurelion. A war not between strangers, but between brothers, the golden age before the storm for nearly 300 years. Aurelion was the jewel of the world. Its capital city, Salmara, shone like gold under the sun. Towers of marble pierced the sky, markets overflowed with treasures from distant lands, and the royal palace was said to be built with stones blessed by ancient gods. King Alaric III ruled with wisdom and iron discipline. Under his reign, Aurelion expanded its borders, crushed rebellions, and united rival kingdoms through diplomacy and fear. But the greatest threat to the kingdom did not come from outside. It was born inside the palace walls. The king had two sons, Prince Kael, the elder, forged in fire and battle, Prince Lucien the younger, shaped by books and ideals from childhood. They were different. Kael trained with swords while Lucien studied law and philosophy. Kael believed power belonged to the strongest. Lucien believed power belonged to the just. The people loved Lucien, the army worshipped Kael, and the king feared what would happen when he died. The death that changed everything. One winter night, King Alaric collapsed during a royal feast. Some said it was illness. Others whispered poison, but the truth was never revealed before his death. Alaric allegedly left a secret decree naming Lucien as the next king. When the royal council announced Lucien's coronation, Kael froze in shock. Kael felt robbed, humiliated, betrayed. To him, the crown was not stolen by his brother Alaric, it was stolen by destiny itself. That night, Kael stood alone in the armory, staring at the ancient royal sword, the symbol of kingship, and he made a decision that would drown the world in blood. In the night of shattered loyalty, in the morning of Lucien's coronation, bells rang across Salmara, but instead of celebration, the city heard the sound of marching boots. Kael had returned at the head of half the royal army. His banner fluttered in the wind, black dragon on a crimson field. Before anyone could react, his forces attacked, the palace guards resisted, nobles fled, citizens screamed, brothers in arms slaughtered each other in the streets. Blood flowed down the marble stairs of the palace like rain. By the time Lucien was escorted to safety, more than 10,000 people were dead. Kael failed to capture the throne that day, but he succeeded in something far worse. He broke the kingdom forever. The rise of the War of Broken Crowns. Kael retreated to the northern provinces, where powerful nobles and generals pledged loyalty to him. Lucien remained in the capital, crowned as king amid ruins and corpses. Within weeks, the kingdom split in two. Supporters of Kael called him the true king. Supporters of Lucien called him the king of peace. But peace was already dead. The war began, not with one battle, but with hundreds. The age of massacre, year after year. The war grew more savage. Villages suspected of loyalty to Lucien were burned by Kael's forces. Cities supporting Kael were executed by Lucien's armies. No side was innocent. No side was merciful. Children starved. Women fled. Men were forced into armies they did not believe in. The land itself seemed cursed. Rivers ran red. Fields were filled with bones. The sky was dark with smoke. Historians later estimated that over 3 million people died during the war. But numbers could never explain the horror. The web of betrayal. The war was not fought only on battlefields, it was fought in shadows. Nobles switched sides overnight. Generals sold secrets. Assassins were hired to kill royal relatives. Lucien survived 3 assassination attempts. Kael survived 5 at one point. Kael's closest friend poisoned his wine, hoping to earn Lucien's forgiveness. Kael killed him with his own hands. Lucien, on the other hand, ordered the execution of his own uncle for secretly supporting Kael. Royal blood spilled royal blood, and the world watched in terror. The Great Siege of Salmoraine, the 5th year of the war. Kael launched his greatest assault. His army surrounded the capital for 6 months. Solmara was under siege. Food ran out. People ate rats. Some even ate leather and grass at night. Citizens could hear the screams of prisoners outside the walls. When the gates finally fell, the city turned into hell. Kael's soldiers stormed the streets. Lucien's defenders fought desperately. Entire neighborhoods were destroyed by the end of the siege. Half the city was ashes, but Lucien escaped again, and the war continued. The final march toward destiny by the 7th year. Both armies were exhausted, but neither brother was willing to surrender. They knew the truth. Only one of them could survive. The final battle was inevitable. It took place on the Crimson Fields, where legends say the gods once fought each other. 2 massive armies faced one another, more than 200,000 soldiers. The ground shook beneath their feet. The sky was silent, then the horns sounded, and the world exploded. The bloodiest battle ever. The battle lasted 3 days. Day 1, arrows turned the sky black. Thousands fell before even touching the enemy. Day 2, cavalry charges crushed entire divisions. The ground became mud mixed with blood. Day 3, soldiers fought hand to hand among piles of corpses. No mercy, no retreat, no humanity. By the end, the Crimson Fields were covered with bodies as far as the eye could see. Some say the smell of death could be sensed miles away. And when silence finally came, only 2 men stood alive, brothers at the end of the world. Kael and Lucien walked toward each other across a battlefield of the dead. They were no longer princes, no longer kings, only brothers, bound by fate. You destroyed everything. Said you stole everything, Kael replied. Their swords clashed, steel against steel, brother against brother. In the end, Lucien's blade pierced Kael's heart. Kael fell, but as he died, he whispered words that would haunt Lucien forever. A kingdom built on blood can never live in peace. The king of Ashes, Lucien, became the undisputed king, but there was nothing left to rule. The kingdom was ruined. The population was broken. The royal family was almost extinct. Lucien spent the rest of his life haunted by ghosts. He wore the crown, but he never felt like a king. When he died years later, history remembered him not as a hero, but as the king who won the bloodiest royal war in history. The eternal lesson of history today. The ruins of Aurelion still exist. Travelers say that on silent nights, you can hear whispers on the Crimson Fields. Some say they are the voices of soldiers. Others say they are the voices of 2 brothers who loved each other once, because history has taught us one terrifying truth. The deadliest wars are not fought for land, not for religion, not for power. They are fought for crowns. And crowns are always paid for in blood.